to talk about the renewal process. How many of you guys have already seen a renewal notice? Okay, if you read the instructions with them, they're brilliantly written by somebody that you might know. Okay, I was on the committee. I took the first stab at it and they fixed it after that, but I tried to think of every question, because I'm out talking to you guys. A lot of times I hear the questions that you have, and so I put my think like you think instead of a Department of Revenue person who speaks DORian, because we speak in abbreviations and statute numbers and stuff like that. It's a different language altogether. So I tried to make it as plain as I could. We'll talk about what's going to happen for licensing, filing, and paying for 2015. We'll talk about audit changes, and we'll talk about contracting changes. And then we'll wrap back around and talk about some things that are coming for 2016. And then free range on questions and answers, okay? And I promised I wouldn't wander far, so I'm going to stick in this little gray area. If I can't hear you, though, I might venture to the back if you have a question, and I'll try to repeat the questions for everybody so that they can all hear, okay? Those are my rules, and here we go. First of all, the Department of Revenue knows this is a big issue. We established a hotline for TPT simplification issues. Now here's a secret about working for the Department of Revenue or any other state agency. Sometimes we have projects that come and they don't come with extra money to do them. So this is manned not only by the TIA, Tax Information and Assistance regular hotline people, but by a bunch of other areas that have donated people to answer the phones. So you could get an auditor that's been trained to answer the phones. You could get a collector. What happened is these other departments have donated people so that the phone line is manned, fully staffed starting January 1. And I was in Tucson, and those guys had just gotten training on how to pick up the calls down there too. So you might be talking to somebody and they aren't even anywhere near you. They're down in Tucson. I see those guys a lot. All right. So let's talk about renewals. Everybody with the Department of Revenue currently licensed can expect to receive a cover letter and a renewal form with some pre-printed license information beginning in November. You should have already gotten them. We're done mailing them. Why? Well, because the law that went through said that everybody has to renew annually now, and that didn't change. And though some of the parts of the transaction privilege tax simplification thing are being backed off to 2016, one of the things that we discovered going through this process is we talked to the cities and we started to compile information and look at their rules versus our rules is that, number one, the cities didn't collect always the same information the state did. And since the state is going to have to carry forward with it, we probably should get that information, number one. Number two, sometimes we had the same taxpayers, but the information we had was a little different. So who's right? City? State? Did they not update the city? Did they not update the state? And in pulling that and looking at it, we really couldn't find a pattern. And it's not right to assume, because then we could change correct information to incorrect or make mistakes. So we decided that this renewal process was really a pretty brilliant way to streamline all our data at our end and have a better match when everybody comes on board in 2016. Seemed like a win-win prospect. This is the first time the Department of Revenue has ever had to do a renewal like this. There was a fishy kind of renewal a few years ago that really only was send us $40, but you didn't get a reprint of your license and we didn't really update a lot of information. This is a full-blown, we're going to update your information kind of renewal. So it's important that you review the pre-printed information. That should be your business name. If you have an EIN number, it should be your EIN. Should be your physical address for your business. These are the things on your license. When you look at your license, it says these things have to be correct. And if they aren't, you need to have a reprint of your license. That's the kind of stuff you were supposed to update. And there are people who have never updated their license, ever. It's one of those things they forget. There is no renewal fee for the state or current program city, so you will probably have, if nothing is different, nothing you have to pay us. However, if you forgot to update us with information that should have been updated, we are going to have to charge you the regular update fee that would have been assessed should you have done it. Things like name change, owner change, like you've gone from being a sole prop to now an LLC or a corporation, or physical address change. We'll update the information as the renewals come in. If there's something that you've changed that we can't do as a normal update, like you've totally changed your business, you're now a corporation where you were a sole proprietorship, you were a bakery, and now you're retail. We're going to have to get in touch with you and have you do an application process. But we have people handling that that'll contact you usually by phone and if not by direct letter to help you get this all straightened out. The new license that you get mailed out to you is going to be valid now from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015, and in November of next year, everybody will renew. So this will be an annual process going forward with renewals. The next time you renew at the end of 2015, every business, including the ones from the non-program cities, those cities that handle their own, are all renewing through the state of Arizona. This year, you may get 2 renewal notices, one from City of Mesa, one from Department of Revenue, one from City of Tempe, one from Department of Revenue. Whatever the breakdown, you can get multiple, but next year you'll only get 1. Bing. There's a little bit of a difference. There were 18 cities that handled their own tax. 15 of them are listed here. It's Apache Junction, Avondale, Chandler, Douglas, Flagstaff, Glendale, Mesa, Nogales, Peoria, Phoenix, Prescott, Scottsdale, Sedona, and Tempe, and Tucson. Those are the ones that are going to, for 2015, still handle their own licensing, their own filing, and their own collection. In 2015, at the end, they'll renew with us and come on board. There are 3 cities missing. Those cities are Somerton, Welton, and Bullhead City. They were with an outside company called RDS. Anybody ever deal with RDS? They were like in Louisiana. They really didn't understand Arizona at all. One of them called me. I don't know how he got my number. This guy called me and he said, I need to ask you a question about Huachaka City. I was like, you're not from around these parts, are you? Huachaka. I was like, wow. Anyway, RDS contracts are up in March, and those 3 cities have opted to, instead of doing their own thing from March to December and then coming on board then with us, they've decided to come on board up front. Okay? If you have anybody that you deal with that's doing business in those cities, they may get an update form from the Department of Revenue. Most of them should already be on board with the Department of Revenue, but there are some things the state does not collect tax for that the cities do. Residential rental, advertising, stuff like that. So there is a chance that there's somebody who isn't on our rolls that'll get a letter from us, and it'll have a cover letter explaining you were with RDS, but now we're handling it. Hey, welcome back, because they were with us before. Everybody should complete and return all renewal forms they get, send it back to us. Here's something interesting. We are not going to mail out licenses as we have done in the past. The Department of Revenue, remember I said we've never had to do an update like this before to our system, which presents us with about, anybody want to guess how many licensed businesses there are in Arizona? I have no prizes. It's about 170,000. So we would be printing out 170,000 licenses, but because we've never done this kind of update before, when the company that built our computer system built it built it for the onesie-twosies of prints of licenses, because that's usually how they go. So we're sending them all out to an outside printing company, the same one that prints all our letters and stuff that come out, our TPT1 returns. They're going to mail them en masse starting around January 1st. Why are we mailing them January 1st if they take effect January 1st? The debit card theory. Have you ever gotten your new debit card and they mail it to you too early and then tear up the wrong one and then later on you go to use it and it's already expired? Yeah. We didn't want that to happen to people for twofold. One, they would have the wrong license that no longer looks correct, and then they would go to try and make a purchase and they wouldn't be able to do it tax exempt. Number two, they would take their brand new license, having shredded up their old one if we sent it early, and they'd run in and they'd say, I need to make a purchase, and the guy would look and go, well, it's not good until January 15th. Or January 1st, 2015. And if it was in December, that would be a problem for them as well. So we're trying to avoid as many problems as we can and make it as easy as we can. When it comes, it's gonna be like really well marked, because our licenses are not the most easy to identify. They're just a single piece of paper. It's not heavy cardstock, it's not fancy. We tried to think about making them heavy cardstock, fancy, pretty colors, but some changes that are coming down the road with regard to being able to license at home from your own computer and print out a license for yourself, that'll be happening in 2016. We realized people don't have cardstock, they don't have fancy colored paper, and their printer might not be able to handle borders. So we kept it simple. Okay?